Well, hello everybody. Welcome to episode 87 of the Contest Realm podcast. It has been a month. I'm sure you'll want some good explanations, and we will give that to you in a very short moment. But to let you know, we're available on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and iTunes podcasts. And hi, I'm on YouTube. There's a video version which you can see, and also, as a lot of you are aware, I am joined, as always, by my good friend and co-host, and that is Dan of Frontline MCOC. You can find on www.frontlinemcoc.home.blog and under the handle on Twitter at frontlinemcoc. Dan, it's been a month.
Rich, it's been a month. A lot has happened. It's good to be back. Thank you to everyone who sent messages. I'm sure you got some messages of like, "Hey, where are you guys? Are you guys okay?"
Yeah, I've seen the comments. I've seen them. I think even M was saying to me, "Oh, I've seen people say a lot about your podcast," and it's like, well, if it's coming to you, then M, I've got to speak to Dan. I think explanations. Let's start with explanations. Dan, what have you been up to? What are the crazy stories? Because you've got a crazy story as well to kind of like.
Yeah. So as I've talked about before, I work in the live events industry. I work in a lot of venues and put on a lot of shows. And one thing I may have mentioned in the past is that one of our big events is an amateur boxing tournament that happens in one of our buildings. So years ago, in 1983, a 16-year-old Mike Tyson won the tournament in our building. And since it was the 75th anniversary, we invited him back. And he showed up. And this was last night.
Wow.
Actually. So Mike Tyson came to the building, and he got the keys to the city, and I will, I do a lot of shows, and I've met some famous people over the years, but this was like a different energy and a different level of fame.
Oh,
like
God.
He walked in the building, he had a press conference. He was answering everyone's questions. He could not have been nicer. He could not have been kinder. Literally everyone wants to meet the guy. Everyone's got a story that, he could not have been more gracious with the chaos around him of everyone wanting their moment with Iron Mike. And then, as you might imagine, the place was packed. Everyone came out to see Mike. He came out, they did a highlight reel of his fights, and of course the stuff in The Hangover and the Phil Collins song. He comes out, and they give him the key to the city, and recognize his contributions to boxing, and everyone's just going absolutely insane. So unfortunately, it was so crazy. I didn't get to say, I didn't get to shake his hand or anything. I got to hold a curtain open for him that he walked through, and he walked right by me, and that was about it. But I've been spending the last week or so just bracing myself for what it would mean for Mike Tyson to show up at our work.
That's an incredible story. I just think I think I'd be there with my jaw just down that's Mike Tyson.
Yeah, he's right there, and like I said, he could not have been kinder and more pleasant to deal with, and he answered everyone's questions, and it was a pretty remarkable day. I'm still buzzing from it a little bit. Like I said, it just happened last night, so
wow,
it was a crazy day.
I mean, the thing is, for you, this is very early on in the morning. Dan is an absolute trooper. He wakes up really early in the morning to record with me in this, so it's that is honestly must be so fresh in your mind. You're thinking, oh yeah. No, I woke up at 3 a.m. and I couldn't get back to sleep, so I was just wow, all that all that happened yesterday. It was just wild. Oh wow, I guess that's the thing. You kind of rock up to work today. What events have we got on next? Have we got anything? But it's not. It's gonna be hard to top that for sure. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I was about to go into all this. To be honest, in comparison, my kind of story of where I've been for the last month is kind of it kind of, I think it might. I'm a big boxing fan. I kind of follow a lot of boxing, a lot of UK boxers, but as well as a few kind of American boxers, which I've got a lot of kind of time for, respect and love their craft, their art, their athleticism. And Mike Tyson has definitely been one of them. It's just. Yeah, I'll go with my story now, but it does not really kind of like top. So for people that know, I've started working for a game studio on a secret project, which I can't reveal. I actually can't talk about in any kind of shape or form until I think 2024. Actually, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it in 2024. I'll have to check, because it's like basically doing stuff for them, and the projects that I'm doing for them do take up a lot of time, and it's very kind of like there's a lot of effort, there's a lot of intricate work that needs to be done, and it's got everything goes through a fine tooth comb, more than doing like a YouTube video for YouTube. And it's very exciting stuff. I would, as I said, I'd love to talk about like what I'm doing, but it's stuff that's gonna have to wait until I think I have permission to do so. But it's just taken up a lot of my time, more time than I think. Like I'll do a video in the morning, and then it's like I'll go to work and do stuff for them between, I don't know, midday UK time, and I won't finish until 1 a.m. in the morning. And then it will just be the same again the next day and the next day. And it will go through a pattern, I think, in the future, where it'll be like 1 month is going to be like I get to focus a lot on my YouTube channel. The next month is going to be very much with them and kind of focusing on work with them. And that's going to continue the same way for the next 2 years. So exciting.
Yeah, congratulations. That is exciting.
I'd love to talk to everyone about it. One day I may be able to. But look, it ain't Mike Tyson. I'm just like, Iron Mike. My God, I'm just... Did you able to get a photo? Or was it because... I suppose it's difficult for you because you want to be like, I want to be professional as possible. I don't want to be like...
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I'm more in the position of trying to like prevent too many people from trying to get their photo with him.
Yes.
So I can't really step in like, it's when you're working close with artists, like it's really your job to like be professional and like, if there's a casual moment, like if it was just a situation where there might be a couple people hanging out and like there's nothing going on, then, maybe you broach that subject. But if it's more like, you're in the middle of like a press conference, and then, he wanted to go talk to the boxers that were fighting that night. So it's, getting him down to the dressing room and just moving a celebrity of that caliber and notoriety through a building is really, really difficult. Because like you can't hide Mike Tyson. Like everyone knows who Mike Tyson is. Like I think I said to someone at work, like, you could put Mike Tyson on the street in any city in the world, and people are going to know who he is.
Absolutely. God, it's definitely been like a month of stuff going. I mean, look, before we talked about it just before we recorded, like it's been a month, like, but the last time we recorded a podcast, there wasn't a conflict going on.
Yeah.
Or a major conflict and stuff like that. But it's not going to be something I think we're going to talk about too much or at all, because I think that's the thing, like whatever's going on in the world, gaming is a good outlet for stuff, for your mental health and I mean, I use that. I don't know about you sometimes if you're kind of feeling stressed.
Yeah, for sure. Like you need to, like obviously you need to stay informed and what's going on in the world, but we all need a break from that sometimes. So, MCOC is definitely that break for me.
And the same thing with like, with your son, you kind of play video games, whether or not it's Mario, Mario Kart, whatever.
Hardcore Mario, a lot of Smash recently.
There we go.
So, we're having a good time with the Switch stuff.
Absolutely. I do actually. I'm thinking of getting a Switch. You
should.
Yeah, there's a lot. I keep on getting, and as well, like the people saying about there's some opportunities for some sponsored content. So I kind of feel like, well, it might pay for itself. I don't know. So I might kind of consider that down the line. But yeah, I mean, I did say to you, didn't I? We're thinking about putting, or we've had our house valued because we are thinking. Well, we have to move because I now, with the game studio work, I now have 2 offices. I have our bedroom next door and the double bedroom as a studio, and it's. I'm taking over the house, Dan. And it's like, It ain't good. It ain't good.
Yeah, no, you gotta be careful with that. You gotta be careful with that.
I mean, Em works from home. She works from our kitchen. That's the extent of kind of like.
Yeah, she should probably get an office too.
Yeah,
she's working from home. Like,
absolutely. So yeah, that's what we're doing, and then hopefully kind of like move to a bigger property this year, possibly. But in any case, back to it's been nice to kind of like do the catch up, which I think is important.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of stuff going on for us both personally, but this should hopefully be us back to a regular routine. And the game. Okay, so what has really been going on? Let's actually kind of like do a little bit of progress catch up, because me and you, it's really weird. Me and you seem to pair up when we're doing our story kind of grind, our story mode, and kind of getting stuff done.
Yeah. I noticed that. Yeah, that we were both pushing through. I guess the announcement for Act 7.4 came out, and I think both of us were like, all right, we got to start getting some of this done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I'm now 100% 7.2
Nice.
and just getting into the first chapter of 7.3. I think you're a little further ahead in me in 7.3.
I will say I was very fortunate that I had a mini vacation, which was great. I got time to really sit down and kind of get some stuff done. 100%ing 7.3.1 right the way through to 7.3.3. And as I'm not very kind of like interested this month on the Cavalier difficulty, I'm going to focus my attention to 100% 7.3.4 to 7.3.6 before the release of 7.4. As I don't know about you, this seems to be based on estimations and how things could be going. It could be the better opportunity to, and unit spend, better opportunity to hunt to get a rank 4 6-star champion by doing it.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I haven't really felt this way since the end of Act 5, where it's sort of like, okay, if I can 100% the act, that's going to move my account forward. That's the next thing, with it was rank 5 stars with Act 5, and now it's a rank 4 6-star. And I don't know about you, I would like to have a rank 4 Apocalypse in my roster. I don't have any rank 4s yet. I know there's some people that have a couple of them out there, but I still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I'm looking at like where I want to go with my rank 4s, and I've got Doctor Doom is going to be the first one to rank 4 for me, because it's just a prestige. And kind of like just the quintessential champion to go to. And then I will be either going down the route of Apocalypse as my second rank 4, and my third would either going to be King Groot, or it's going to be another champion. I do have Ghost there, but I'm like, well, I want to have a champion that I use more for different stuff. So it could be a case of go Spider-Man 2099 or Human Torch, basically because I don't find a piece of content where and without him, there will always be like a fight interaction where. So I think it's just from a practical standpoint of champions I will use. And I use Doctor Doom a lot. I use Apocalypse a lot. Human Torch a lot. Spider-Man 2099 a lot, which could be a good option for a further one. But it's just like, it's weird that I kind of have this kind of thought. Before, it would be like, oh, right, well, I've done with Cavalier difficulty for the month. What am I doing now? And it's a point in time I go, I really want to get back to doing story mode and Act 7.3, which is a very weird thing. I haven't had that mentality in over 5 years.
Wow.
To go, I want to go back to story
quest. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I've been that long, but yeah, I definitely am motivated to get back into the Act content, and I am not worried at all about not completing Cavalier difficulty right now.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like, if you need something to do, you need some rewards, you can grab more of that stuff for a lot less time in the side quest right now.
Yes. I like what they've done with the side quest. I've seen a few people kind of like make a few complaints about it, but like the energy spend, like, and the time allocated to doing it is really good. It's like, it's good for quality of life to just go in and just grind it out and just go, okay, well, I've done one path. Oh, I got a chest. Oh, that's a lot of rewards in it.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, that was a lot for that first run. That was nice.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of like a good way to go. It's kind of like quick. It's a quick grab. It's good on your time. I know I have seen a few people that kind of like mentioned about well, it's not exactly the boss rush. But look, what Kabam put out for this month, they put out Karina's Challenges Volume 2, which, look, it's not a boss rush, but it's kind of good. There's easy grab for the volume of stuff that you get back from it. There's great amounts of Cavalier shards and kind of Grandmaster shards or whatever you are, like Women of Power and Mutant or Metal shards for a very low kind of grind. I just can't find a problem with the way that they've put this together from a time grind and perspective, which for me is the most important thing.
I agree. Yeah, there's some solid rewards for the time spent. You don't feel like you're wasting much time doing random paths that don't get you anything.
Absolutely.
And overall, like this is the month that people have been asking for a little while, where it's got multiple things to do.
Yeah.
Especially for those endgame people that were 100%. Those are the folks. You already see them ripping through multiple Karina's challenges, and that they're going to be burning through 7.4 as soon as it's released. But it's like these people are ready to go. Like they needed something.
And that's the thing. Like pace is so important. With this month, this is kind of like for me, as I kind of explained, like 1 month I'll be very busy, 1 month I won't be as busy. For me, it's kind of like, right, this month here, March, I got to make it count, and I need to get my 7.3 done, and then it's a case that next month I won't be I will end 7.4 as much as possible for between this month and next month, because it's like, okay, well, once that's done, my biggest problem was always my goal for this year, get a rank 4 6-star champion. And Karina's challenges, when I look to the time investment and the unit investment and the resource investment, they don't look that appealing for the stuff that I need in the volume that I need in the rate of time that I need. So Act 7 looks like the better thing to go. So time is very important. And I thought, well, I can't do a Karina's challenge, even though some of them do look quite good. It's just I would have to put in more hours than I could. To give you a good example, when I'm doing 7.3, it's taken about 15 minutes if things go well. If it goes badly, 20 minutes to clear one path and do a boss.
Sure.
Right. So that allocation is that I can do in 1 hour 100% or less, 100% one of the 7.3 point whatever it is. And I just looked at the time allocation to what I get back from that versus what I do with extra unit spend and resource spend in the Karina's challenges, and it's just you have to always weigh up those two factors. So I'm very much I'm in a good place with the game, which is I'm glad to say that's the thing. I have a happy balance of how I'm personally happy with it. Where are you with the game? How are you feeling around game progression?
I'm feeling good. Making progress in 7.2, that was pretty gratifying. I liked that piece of content a lot. Had a few issues with the Gwenmaster, but
I did too.
Pretty much got her figured out. If I wasn't a huge Kitty Pryde fan before that, I certainly left with a new appreciation. Because that Gwenmaster fight is a little stressful because of the timer.
Yes.
And that's really where the difficulty comes from. And then, you get someone like a Kitty Pryde who, with Emma Frost, she's immune to the reverse control, so that's not an issue. I think one of the trickier ones was the Invisible Woman phase, where you have to, take the shield down before the timer runs out. And, Kitty's SP2 just annihilates that thing. Because you've got all that prowess. You just build up to the big SP2. And then, there was certainly some times where I probably should have died, but I was phased and I didn't.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
I appreciate her saving me some revives. So there was, it was mostly Kitty Pryde for Gwenmaster, a little bit of Medusa, actually, a little bit of Nick Fury, but mostly Kitty.
Yeah, I was I was Nick Fury, and I was Professor X. Professor X because like I said, inverted controls is my one thing that I just cannot stand. Being
can't be doing that.
No,
you can't be. I mean, if that's something, if there's a way to turn it off, I say you need to take the option that turns it off. Like that, you're just asking for trouble.
It's just
otherwise
the ramp up, the constant intercepts, and I've had good kind of like instances where I've been able to pause that timer quite nicely as a kind of like get kind of a good rhythm. And sometimes I had this fantastic rhythm, and I'll be like, yes, this is going great. I think I put it down to like one round, one go of the Gwenmaster goes really good. The next one goes really badly. Then the next one goes really good, and the next one really badly. And I think I had that a few times.
Yeah, I know the feeling. It's like, I'm gonna solo this, and then you're like, I'm terrible.
Yeah.
It's tricky. There's some, and depending on the links, some of those are tricky in those. Like the link where you get the timer is 5 seconds shorter. That one was rough.
Yeah.
That one was a little rough for me, but got through it, got 100%, felt good. Moving on, learning how to deal with these paradoxes. And we'll go from there. Like I know people have issues with 7.3. Like I've only done one chapter, so I'm not, I can't really form a total opinion on that. It's definitely harder, but I wouldn't say like I'm having like Act 6 rage or anything.
No,
yet.
I'm glad that the thing is, fortunate for me and you is that they nerfed the paradoxes in 7.3.
Yes.
So
timing is everything, Rich.
Exactly. That's
why we wait.
Yeah. What was the? Yeah, I found that like between 7.3.1 and 7.3.3. I felt that it was like some of the nodes are fine. I mean, as soon as I got into 7.3.4, I stopped enjoying myself. I am still blasting through it, but some of the nodes I'm not a big fan of. But I'm actually kind of like switching my mantra in how I kind of deal with the content. I'm actually following what you do, mainly because it really does help out for the boss. I'm sure there's going to be people that disagree with it. And what I'm doing now is what I did before, which was, I don't know, what I'm doing now is like I think the best way of dealing with it, like leaving the boss for last and trying to do it, say, the same day or make it the focus point and just kind of go, right, well, here's the thing. I'm going to 100% between 7.3.1 right the way through to 7.3.5 and then devote my attention on one quest and then do it, I don't know, multiple paths in one day over the course of several days, mainly because what it does is muscle memory. And the more, because the more I was thinking about it, it's all about like that fight is fresh in your mind. Because as soon as I've done one fight, like the champion fight, I haven't gone back to it, or the Grandmaster fight, I haven't gone back to it. And I will do that multiple times in one day or over the course of days, just so I understand. I keep that kind of as the fresh fight in my mind that I have to play, understand rotations, movements, intercept, depth, just kind of like enemy AI movements, like how is it in response? Okay, I need to do this, I need to do that, this phase, that phase. So it's all fresh in your mind.
And I think that ends up saving you revives in the long run, which is good. You might have to wait a little bit to get the rewards, but unless you're really on the cutting edge, like the waiting is not going to hurt you that much.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I'm all for it. I'm looking forward to continuing to push through 7.3 and seeing all the videos that I'm sure will drop the second that 7.4 is out.
Yeah.
And eventually, I don't really have a timetable. Like I imagine it will take me, probably a month and a half to 2 months to fully explore 7.3 and probably the same amount of time for 7.4. So maybe by July 4th I'll have a rank 4.
For me, I'm like, I need to get this done I need to get 7.400% by the end of next month. Just like one of these targets I have in my mind, like that would be 6 months of the year since I set my target to get my first ever rank 4, and I'll be like, hey, let's do this, let's smash it, and do it by that means. But I'm hopeful for that case. I just hope that my units, which I haven't yet gone into yet, I've been trying to make sure that I grab more, like, revives and health potions for other means, just to make sure that I keep those units, because I became non-spending at the end of December, and I want to see how far I go to keep that. But you know, if there's a rush on for me to say, look, let's 100% 7.4, and I need to dip into those units because things go wrong, then at least I've got that.
You need the safety net.
Yeah, exactly. Too right. Yeah. Okay, let's get into some stuff that's kind of like happened. Champ ratings have been pushed back.
Yeah, I saw that post. So the big takeaway initially is, of course, that the March champions Omega Sentinel and Captain Britain will not be subject to the champion balancing initiative, which I am totally okay with.
Yeah, they do look really good. I gotta be honest, I haven't had much time to kind of play about with them. I know they're probably available for CCP, but I just don't have the time at the moment to look into it. But that's good. Omega Sentinel does look very good. Same with Captain Britain. It's good to see another mutant and like having different bits of kit from other areas. So you kind of go like, okay, well, it's an option for this or that. The same way Omega Sentinel is, I think, is it the second Mystic or Metal-based champion to be immune to ability accuracy reduction, especially as Magneto being the counter for them.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, I think it's Omega Sentinel and Nimrod are the two. I can't remember 100% if that's the case. I want to say yes, that is the case, but I don't know. But yeah, that's going to be good, because then people are going to buy these champions as is and not feel that, hey, they're going to be changed in 6 months.
Yeah, because that's always what happens, right? This is when you talk about champion balancing. As soon as it comes out that a champion's released and they come out and they're looking good, people are gonna like, well, they're gonna nerf this, they're gonna nerf that, and it just doesn't create a fun dialogue around the champion.
No, not at all. That's always been my biggest issue, because it's like, okay, I've got this champ, I spent money, number one, or number two, it goes into the featured pool very, very quickly or sooner, and you're like, okay, great, I'm going to rank this champion up, and then all of a sudden it's changed, and you're there like, okay, well, I just used a load of resources on this champion based on as is and as sold to me, and it's like, oh, well. And Kabam didn't mention anything about going, right, well, rank down tickets or whatever's going to be given. So you could be stuck. Idea. Yeah, you could be stuck with an investment that you're now going, oh, I really wish I didn't invest into this. That's always been the concern I've seen with this particular thing. There is the other stuff with, like, there was going to be a Russian-based champion going to be ranked up in April, and under the current light of the situation, they're not gonna do it. So I don't know if that would have been like Red Guardian or Omega Red. I can't think of any kind of like Black Widow.
I can't imagine Omega Red needing a buff.
No.
I mean, Red Guardian, like that seems to be a likely candidate. The other one that I've seen that's been talked about is Rhino.
Oh, right, yeah.
Rhino is Russian, and next month is Black Cat and Scorpion, and thematically, you're talking, another Spider-Verse character.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Like, I wonder, we don't know, like, whether this was something that they decided. Was this something Marvel decided for them?
Yeah.
There's no real way to know. It was kind of a weird announcement, though.
Yeah. And that's a very good point. Like, Disney have cut a lot of stuff. I think they're playing this very, very kind of carefully, because I think they pulled Anastasia from Disney Plus or something. There's loads of kind of weird stuff being happening with that. And I guess this is the problem when it comes to like PR and just public image, because if any company is seen to be kind of advertising anything Russian related, it's like, okay, they're just pulling the plug straight there, because it's they can't deal with the the PR not PR disaster, but the PR pressure that comes from people who go, oh, you must change this. And I guess that's just the thing that people may not understand, that it's down to a company perspective rather than it being anything else. So anyway, sidewinding on to the next thing. I think we've gone over we talked about March based content, and I mean, I can't say anything else except for I like it. I like the way the side quest is done from a time saving point of view. End game players have got what they need to be getting on with, and also we've had all those other objectives, which, you know, if you've smashed them out, solo events, you've smashed them out, then you've got a load of stuff very, very quickly. So I think it's been good. Is there anything, do you think we're gonna, like a secret release or something, or do you think 7.4 is basically going to be the last thing we get released for the month?
I mean, I think 7.4 is going to be the last thing. This month's got a lot in it. They added quite a few things to the game. I mean, we've got 2 big pieces of content between 7.4 and the Karina's challenges. The International Women's Day event, that's always a big, feels like a big month. For the game. And they did a few quality of life things in the release notes. So, like, it strikes me as a pretty full month as it is. So I don't see there being a surprise, but you never know.
Yeah, I was just having a look because it just reminded me of something that I remember a Feeling Green event. And
oh yeah, that was like a couple years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, they didn't do it for 2021. They did it 2020, 2019, before then, not quite sure. I think they had some special crystals, but apart from that, yeah, it's a bit sad not to see that return.
I remember that being pretty popular. So.
Yeah. I'm just trying to get like some images up of it. The great thing about it was, like, you got a load of revives. It had a 7-day solo event, and there was 5 revives after X amount of point. There was more revives after another point. There was also a special crystal after 50,000 points, and that was St. Patrick's Day is 6 days away. So I don't know if they'd ever do it again. I mean, if it didn't do it, the thing I always see with like Kabam is if don't expect them to do the same thing all the time, especially after this going. I think 2021 was definitely a year, if you go, okay, where's the this gift that we're meant to be receiving, don't expect for it to kind of like to come. Oh, Feeling Green event, don't expect it to come. And when it does come, go, hey, it came back. But a lot of the time it's like, well, is this a regular thing? Is this now they're stopping it? Are they just doing now expect the unexpected? So I don't know, Dan, maybe we'll see something. Maybe we won't.
I don't know. I imagine April there'll be more going on, and April they've started to ramp up the Deadpool spring cleaning, which was actually pretty huge last year. So I would be shocked if that didn't come back, because that seemed very popular overall. And from yes, it was a spending event, but they made it somewhat more free to play friendly, and people overall seem to like the deals. So like, I think if they've got 7.4 comes out, they do the Deadpool thing next month. We've got Scorpion and Black Cat coming out, so you've got a big Spider-Man month like that. That should be pretty good.
Yeah, that will kind of like definitely spice things up. So I think that's maybe one of the reasons that the side quest. Well, last month, the month of February, I think we had access to. I want to say it was over 10,000 6-star shards. I think it was approaching like 13,000 or something that you could get if you go a certain route with the side quest. This month, I think total's like 6,800. So there's definitely the kind of like a lot less of the 6-star shards. I'm just trying to think in my mind whether or not there's anything else that's come in. Well, you could say all those Cavalier shards that we got.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot of Cavalier shards.
Yeah.
And there's 2 different crystals, so I think they're kind of moving the shards over there this month.
Yeah, so that's probably like where you're going to earn stuff, because it's like if you as a player get like a load of 5-star dupes, then it could be a case that you get, you'll get a nice chunk, or you get a shiny 6-star, or you get new 5 stars that are going to be helpful to your roster. And there's a lot of decent champions in those crystals, but it's RNG, so it's like there's loads of different things there that are kind of going on between it being good, bad, indifferent, all those lovely things. Right, what else is going on? Because like we're also in a lull between new improvements to the game, aren't we? Between Battlegrounds and the input system improvements.
Yeah, and I'm super excited for Battleground.
Yeah,
I played quite a bit of it in the beta, and I think it's going to be a really exciting game mode. I haven't been excited about a new game mode like this in a long time, and it's very cool, and it's kind of the opposite of Dungeons, where it's very quick, and it's like 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So like you don't have to like plan out an hour and a half.
Yeah.
To get a game in, which is nice. But yeah, I think what we're going to start to see, I don't know if this is going to happen in April exactly, depending, obviously depends on how things are going and what their announcements are, but it seems like they're going to be running betas for the input system and for Battlegrounds. It looks like April.
Yeah.
But we're going to see like how many players are in the beta and so it's going to be a while before the whole community gets access to these things. It's going to be certainly a process, but as we've talked about before, like there's nothing more important for Kabam right now than sticking the landing on this input system launch.
Yes.
So I'm actually like really encouraged that they're doing a beta and not just like turning it on.
Yeah. We've had this.
That just seems scary.
Yeah, we've had this before. I think we've been here where they've just gone, oh, here's a new thing that we're putting in game. It's launched, and what it's done is it's caused issues elsewhere rather than anything, and that can always be the trouble. I don't know, by running the Battlegrounds beta and the input systems beta at the same time, there may be, because there's multiple betas in process, will it cause problems with the servers? Don't know, because essentially we'll have a live server, a content creator program beta, we'll have the other 2 betas, so that's 3 betas to load on the servers. Now I'm not an expert on these things. I definitely don't know Kabam's side how this would impact, but it's something that I'm sure they'll be very careful of how it could impact the live server, which, let's face it, that's going to be the most important server.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would think they may have to stagger some of these things.
Yeah.
Just to make sure they don't get overloaded.
Yeah. So like saying the first 2 weeks is going to be beta A and run for 2-3 weeks, and then the next beta is going to be the latter point. So one will end and one will begin. Potentially. I don't know. I'm not kind of like running the show there at Kabam, but I'm sure, as I said, they'll be very careful of how they deal with it. But yeah, that's kind of, I think that's really concluded a lot of our MCOC coverage. Is anything else I think we ever missed, or?
No, I think that's been a pretty good catch up of where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, there are some other things like bugs here and there. Really weird situation with the crossfights in Cavalier difficulty between some tags working, some not. And honestly, like I've seen evidence of it working and evidence of it not working.
Oh well, and that's the worst.
That is the worst, because you go, oh right, that's yeah, and that's oh dear.
Sounds like the persistent charge thing, where sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's an excellent point, because that was a problematic thing a while ago. I want to say it's sorted out, but in some side quests since, it was a problem. I think the Strikers month, the January month, persistency wasn't working correctly. So I don't know. It's all very weird. Kabam, I kind of looking into it, so it is what it is with that. Right, let's quick talk about Realm. Now, one thing I didn't put on our talking points was about the compensation. Oh, Dan, that Realm compensation though.
That was spicy.
That was yeah.
I imagine you and I both got the max compensation because we did the 500 fights.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a lot of crystals, a lot of gold. Certainly a very generous package for to hopefully lure some of those players over to MCOC, and they can continue their gaming in the battle realm. So I
Yeah.
know there was like a lot of back and forth about that, because people see the compensation, and I would just remind them, it's like, we get compensation because, like, in MCOC, because of like a war season not ending correctly. Like,
Yeah.
realm died.
Yeah, it's like it's dead.
Like, there's no going back, and they're very different games. Like, all the compensation in the world, like, if you don't like, if realm was your kind of game and MCOC is not, like, all the compensation in the world isn't gonna make you want to play the game. So,
Exactly. I mean, that's just the thing. Like, you'd, I think, like, one person said to me something like, "Well, this isn't fair. Like, that people are getting this compensation. When will we in MCOC get this kind of compensation?" I said, "Well, if MCOC dies as a game, then maybe you'll get that compensation. Although that doesn't really mean that you'll be getting to use it. That's basically what happened. I mean, Kabam didn't have to offer anything. Yeah. Other games, like, it's like, they can't offer a refund because they, I don't know, like, I've talked about this a long time, like how some game studios worked. I mean, with Kabam, they probably would have had a startup cost or like a funding cost to kind of operate for X amount of time, and then the game has to kind of continue on with microtransactions, because they won't go, oh, by the way, Kabam aren't going to bankroll a failing game. That's just not how it happens. That's not the game industry.
Businesses don't do that.
Exactly. So there are either going to be people that will be absorbed from that into, because yes, these developers in free-to-play games have to be paid money, and it won't be a case that they will be, there will come a point where they'll just go, look, I'm sorry, but we're running out of money. We're going to have to let you go. And then they'll either move on to other game projects, or they'll be absorbed into the bigger publishing company, which, it probably would be Kabam, which some have been, but not all the team would be absorbed into that. They may have, I don't know. Kabam may be quite good to their employees, but a lot of the time it's just a case of going, look, sorry, there's nothing available for you. We can't absorb you into this position. We'll recommend you for this or for that, because sometimes it may be how they kind of work, maybe like, well, we work with this, okay, with this we work with that, and it's like they can't kind of come across potentially. They may not work with Unreal Engine, they may work for something else, again, don't know. But I mean, the compensation, you would have to have had suffered, I don't use that in a very kind of like flippant term there, suffered Marvel Realm of Champions to actually get the compensation. And I think, for me and you, we definitely saw, I mean, after like the first, like, I don't know, 2-3 months, 4 months, I think I was really invested and loved it. And then, it just started falling off for me when it comes to Kabam not going in a different direction. And we talked about this, we did a whole podcast about this. Yeah. But then, like, compensation-wise, they didn't have to offer it, but it was good that they did.
Yeah, no, it was a nice move, like you said. It was a nice move, and hopefully it brings some new players over to MCOC.
Yeah, true. Especially with somebody having 200,000 units, which was 220,000 units. Sorry, I should be more excited.
Well, they did pay for those units. So,
exactly. Imagine that, paying all that money for all those units in game, or buying special stuff in Realm of Champions, and going, oh, well, I've now lost like thousands of, like $8,000 worth of stuff. I've lost now, and kind of been told, well, it's gone. It's like, thank God Kabam said to these people, hey, do you want to like come over and use it in this game? It might be quite cool. And that was great. That was kind of good to see for their perspective. There is one final thing, and that's the ending of the game and the story. So I don't know if you were able to see the part 1 of, like...
I did, yeah.
Very interesting. So basically, to kind of put anybody in the picture for Marvel Realm, there was a story that started about, a year and a half ago, about why Maestro was dead, who killed Maestro. And that was the big thing about when we went to New York Comic Con 2019, was a big kind of like sculpture of Maestro. And it's like, who killed Maestro or something?
Yes.
Yeah. And
that was the whole like hook for the game.
Yeah. And that was the story from it, and that was, I think, where it would have been, where Marvel Contest and this game would collide when it comes to a story element. In that, this is basically The barons, so the controlling bosses of your characters, so the web warrior, the sorcerer supreme, whatever it is, they were embroiled in a fight to defeat Maestro, and they weren't able to, as all the barons defeat Maestro, because Maestro is super powerful. So what they did was they called on the assistance of every multiversal versions of Doctor Strange's, Thor's, I think Hulk's, and more, and Iron Man and stuff, in order to defeat Maestro. And that's how they did it. That's the part 1. Part 2 is coming out soon, I want to say.
I would expect it soon. I mean, they're shutting the game down on the 31st.
Yeah.
So I would bet that it's going to be right around then.
Yeah. And that's just like, that's how the story goes with it. And like I saw somebody like put like a response saying, "Oh, that's predictable." Well, that in order to defeat Maestro, they go for multiversal versions. I mean, what do you expect? The version that was in what is it, like animation and stuff, where they aged Thor in order to be more powerful, because the older Thor gets, the more powerful he gets to defeat Maestro, which is what actually happened with it. So I don't know. I mean, that would have been the more predictable way of going about it, to defeat them, or getting something else like the Infinity Gauntlet in order to destroy Maestro. But I thought it was quite cool.
Yeah, I liked it. I just like that they're taking the time to wrap up the narrative. Like, they don't have to do this. Like, there's no ROI on doing this.
Yeah,
at this point, it's just a nice kind of thank you to the players at this point. And
yeah,
who knows? They may end up continuing some of the story in MCOC as far as like what happens to Battle World. You know, we may have a Baron or two that breaks into the Battle Realm at some point. We'll have to see. But you know, we forever got the contribution of 4 realm champions in MCOC.
Yeah.
So the game will live on in bits and pieces.
Yeah. And that's just the thing with it. It's sad to see it go. I really hope the Barons, or some of the Barons, become champions. Definitely, because
me too.
What is it, Madam Web? I think that would be really amazing.
She's pretty cool. Yeah.
I think because they'll probably go down the route of a Black Panther Shuri. I don't know if it would be. Maybe they'll go with. I don't think they'll go with the round one for that one, to be honest. But maybe they'll kind of do something to tie in the. Is it the War Thor? Is it
War Thor? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty sick to have, because it's just like the different types of, just the weaponry and just the look of the character looks pretty badass. And there's a few others as well. Vision, possibly, because they didn't really get to explore much of the other Barons that we don't really know about, like Pirate Deadpool.
Right. Yeah, they never got to that. We saw a little bit of that on the map.
Yeah,
of stuff that was coming, but they never got to. I think there was a symbiote land too that they never got to.
Yeah, that's just that's a sad thing, like the way the game could go. And it's like, I'm good that they had like this extended vision. It's just a real shame when it comes to how, say, Marvel's Super War is still going now, and where this game was pitched for Western audiences, and how maybe with the likes of, what was it called? I think it's a League of Legends game, or there was another game, several games that are like it, and how they're still doing well now, and how this game kind of like didn't emulate that. And I think, I don't want to go down too much of the rabbit hole, because again, we have talked about this before, but it's quite kind of sad to kind of see a game that had potential. It's just, what was the pitch? Where was this meant to be pitched at? Because Marvel Future Revolutions had its day, and it had like a real kind of big thing, and a slow kind of decline to it. But all good things must come to an end if situations don't work out.
Yeah, so we'll just unfortunately that's where we're at with Realm, and we'll have to see what the final bit of the narrative is. And I just have to wonder if, knowing Gabe and how he likes to tell stories, like, I have to think we're gonna get some sort of either an Easter egg or some sort of a hint of something that's to come. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
Despite the game ending, I don't think he sees this as the like end of this story.
Yeah, absolutely. And that'll be the big thing about what's happening next with this. I've got to hope that there's a cutscene at the end of so there's got to be a cutscene at the end of Act 7.4 and kind of go like, okay, yeah, like how this is going to shape up for the future. There's still so many like little stories that don't really kind of interweave into one another. And with the end of the Union, the book 2 Act 1, how this will culminate with Karina. Will she go down a different route? Will she kind of like follow Grandmaster Collector route? What's happened to them? Will they ever come back? Is there going to be more of an emphasis on something next? Is the Superior Kang going to start like a new story arc that's going to be interwoven? Is this going to be something to hint with how the MCU is going to go and kind of like tie it into what's going on in other places? Man, there's so many questions that
still
I have.
Galactus stuff hanging out there. There's still like the entropy teases.
Yeah, absolutely. There's you're right. It's like this. I'm excited with the way contest can go. Marvel Contest Champions can go when it comes to like story arc, and how soon, because they did say like they want to roll out act content more quickly. So whether or not we'll hear, I don't know, in summer months, whether or not they're preparing for Act 8, that would be the next thing with that. But excited for the future, Dan.
Yes, excited for the future and glad to be back.
Absolutely. And that is a perfect time to end the podcast. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Dan, what is your plans for next week?
Next week, really just working on this side quest, getting those rewards, and going to get as much of 7.3 done as I can. Ditto.
I'm doing exactly the same. 23rd of March, I think, is the drop date time. So, lots of work to be done. I'm very much looking forward to smashing into some new content. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you for the next episode 88. Make sure to catch us on the links in the bios, and bye-bye.